The next question is for all the candidates. It seems likely that one of you could end up going to Congress as part of a Republican majority. So you would not just be responding to the Democrats. Republicans will be able to set their own agenda. But what should that agenda be? Now name the one thing, other than health care. Name the one thing that you think should be the first top priority of a Republican Congress. Starting with Mr. Richard.
We must reduce federal spending. This is what has got me so deeply concerned and got me into this race. I've looked at financial statements for 30 years, and every person, every company, and every country has a financial statement and a budget. And we are so far out of whack that our very national security is at risk. This is the central thing we must do, is control federal spending and actually reduce the size of government, reduce the Department of Energy and other agencies like that. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with Mr. Rizzo. We have to get this crazy federal spending in control and start rolling it back. Let's just provide a little more variety. I think we need to get the government off the backs of small businesses that generate all the growth and the jobs in our economy. And with this health care mandate and all the other taxes on it, I just think we need to do whatever we can to give our small business unfettered rein to grow as quickly as they can, get our economy back on its feet. Thank you.
Ed Malbeck, and I'm happy I'm going third because we're going to sound like a broken record. And that was my one issue. We have to stop the growth of the federal government and stop its encroachment in our lives. That's why we have a Tea Party. And if we put the same Republicans in office this November, I expect the Tea Party will grow. Thank you.
Don't steal my point. Thank you. Good evening, Doug Hutchison. Republican Congress, give me a break. We had it under Bush. We spent like it was no tomorrow. What is the song by Prince? Party like 1999 or something like that? There you go. Okay, it's easy. It's supposed to be citizen representation. Obey the Constitution. Let the states do their job. Let them flourish. D.C. is dumb. It is too far removed. For us, it's only a couple of hours. It's thousands of miles for the rest of the country. D.C. is too far removed. Stick to federal issues and the Constitution, and let the states run themselves. Thank you.
Please state no interruptions from the audience.
I want to say that I'm people first, party second, and I'm an independent thinker. We've got to get in there and we need to reduce the debt and spending. We have to reform the three major entitlements. We have to become energy independent, unhandcuffing our natural resources for exploration and production, and we've got to be tough on terrorists and label them as enemy combatants and not give them the same rights as you and I. We have to get this country back on a sustainable path. Thank you so much.
Jessica Sandlin. Well, if you send me to Congress, I'll be controlling this along with 434 other people. I control this in my house. I know how it works. I would reinstate, or I would have Virginia start the process to allow our president to have a line item veto again. It makes sense. I would also vote to abolish corporate income tax. Corporations do not pay taxes. People do. It filters down to us. Let's abolish it.
All great minds, great one-liners, but not one of them have come up with a real answer to the problem. Yes, we all want to reduce the federal budget and we all want to reduce the size of government, but only one guy standing up here today, one guy or gal, has got it in his website, and that is take a 2% reduction from each one of the 10 departments of government and reduce the government by that and do an audit like Ronald Reagan did when he came into office. That's how we can reduce the size of this government. Come up with a plan, ladies and gentlemen.
My plan includes, number one, just like Reagan did, hiring freeze across the board of federal government. That will be the first clear signal that government's serious about controlling spending. And through attrition will make government smaller. Number two, we must lower taxes. Did analysis across 50 states. Those states with the highest taxes are those states with the highest unemployment, are those states with the highest crime. And the opposite is true. So we must lower taxes, get rid of the progressive tax system, and eventually, once we have economic prosperity for everyone, institute look at the fair tax, but we'll have require a 16th Amendment on that one. Change that one word from income to expenses and legal income.
Now, the last couple answers have sort of gotten ahead of me here, because the next question was going to be, this is for Mrs. Iowa, Taylor, Golden, and Malbeck. Under the current Congress administration, the federal government is piling up trillion-dollar deficits year over year. What do you think Congress should do immediately and specifically to cut spending, balance the budget, and avert a debt crisis? Starting with Mrs. Iowa.
Bert Mizusau, as we said previously, we just need to put an end to this crazy spending. There really is no way around it without looking at entitlements. Entitlements and defense are the two biggest parts of our budget by far. What we need to do is we need to get serious about reforming things now. People might talk to you about the balanced budget amendment. That takes 5 years to do. I want to start cutting back now. And the first thing with entitlements, we cannot break the trust with our seniors, but we need to start instituting transformation now so people are on warning that we need to privatize how we do that. And we also have to get defense spending transformed as well. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor.
Scott Taylor. The three major entitlements, Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. They're on an unsustainable path we've known for decades, Democrats and Republicans, but no one has had the political will to go in there and try to reform these entitlements. That's what needs to happen. It's putting us on an unsustainable path. It's bankrupting our country. We need to reform them immediately. We need to look at reducing the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, which is a $28 billion budget that was put in place by President Carter to make us energy independent, and we are no less energy independent today. Thank you.
Get rid of the czar program. I know how that works. I know how it's funded through a thing called the IPA program, and they can pay them as much as they want to. Get rid of that, and then a 2% reduction per year in each of the 10 departments of government. That will include all the other things. Reform them, and go in and take a look at them just like Ronald Reagan did when he became president. That's how we can get this government back under control.
Question?
What do you think Congress should do immediately and specifically to cut spending, balance the budget, and avert a debt crisis?
I would say I have to disagree with Ken A. Golden. I don't agree with a 2% cut. We need to, I'm like a broken record at this point. We need to shrink the size of the federal government. I'm looking more at vertical cuts, larger cuts in the government. 2% is not going to do it. And a lot of times when you cut 2% or low percentages out of things that we're not getting production out of anyway, they don't get any better. They don't execute them any better. We have to get rid of large elements for the federal government that we get no benefit for, and we sink tons of taxpayer dollars into it. Thank you.
The next question is for Ridgel, Hutchison, Loyola, and Sandler. People tend to forget the Tea Party movement did not just begin as a reaction against the current administration. A lot of the Tea Party people I've talked to say their outrage began earlier with the previous administration, the Bush administration's failure to keep government in check, particularly during the financial crisis. So let me ask you, if you had the power to do so, what legislation or other measure would you reverse, not from the Obama administration,